Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo Sport. If you do enjoy these videos on the new week of daily races, please hit that subscription button and hit the like button. It really does help these videos out. So yeah, starting from the back of the grid on daily race 8, first video of the day, we're racing at Tsukuba in the Mazda Miata. Now this race is, as usual with daily race A, it is going to be a free-for-all because daily race A, no penalties. People just don't have any respect, really. I've come to realise that daily race A is a race to avoid. So, starting from last, let's see what happens. Going into turn 1, we're going to go as late as we can on the brakes without obviously hitting anyone in front. And now, braking nice and early, we take a tight line through. Car in front of us completely drifts, and then he hits another car, and it's like 4 wide for the corner. We manage to stay over to the right-hand side of the track, and we managed to gain a few positions there. Now keep your eye on the mirror behind us because this guy just totally forgets to brake. I don't think it's deliberate, he just totally forgets to brake. Straight on into the barrier. I'm not sure what was going on there, but we managed to get ourselves up to P7 now, and we're following another group of cars. Now looking behind, you can see a car almost trying to T-bone someone in the mirror there. This is going to be a case. This race is really nasty in my view. There's just going to be a lot of people pushing people off and stuff. But this is how daily race is at the moment with no penalty system. It's come to expect. There's another driver there, pushed off there. We're going to go through his ghost and stay to the left-hand side just to give him space. He doesn't realise I'm there, I don't think, at that point, but then he does and gives us a space, and we've got the slipstream to P5, which is going to promote us now into P6. So gained a few positions there on lap 1. So take it nice and easy through this Fanatec. Now this was my first race. I just went straight in with one. Didn't even get a lap's worth of practicing. So didn't really know how aggressive we could drive this track. So first lap, a little bit rusty, just trying to figure out the braking points. We figured out you brake in just before the 50 board on the left hand side there. We can see we braked quite late there though, because we saw that the Spanish driver was going to go for quite a lunge. Luckily managed to rotate it in with a late braking and hold on to P6. Now keep your eye again on the mirror, and you're going to see what I mean about people pushing people off, because the Spanish driver just rams us here, pushes us up the rear as another driver gets taken out by the French driver in front. So 2 incidents going on at once. Spanish driver pushes us out the way, and the French driver completely takes out the other driver there. So again, this is what you are going to get in this combination because there's no penalty system. It's quite a slow car. It's the way it always is in daily race A. You kind of have to just live with it now. But as we come through, I'm not sure if the Spanish driver gives a little contact there to the French driver. Couldn't really tell, but he manages to get himself up into P4. Now, as we come back into the braking zone, you see the French driver right behind the Spanish driver. And I was thinking, is he going to take him out? Because we've just seen him take out the other driver, and he doesn't do it there. It looks like there is a bit of contact though, because he pushes him kind of wide. But as we come onto the exit there, you can see the Spanish driver is pushing him off the track as if he's not there. And I think that may have annoyed the French driver, as we're about to see going into the braking zone. This French driver is going to say, see you later, and just go straight into the back of the Spanish driver and just rams him into the rear. Now, if I'm honest, I saw that and I was like, well, he did ram us in the braking zone, but yeah, that gives us P5 in this race. Now, from this point onwards, it was fairly dull, if I'm honest, because I managed to catch up to P4. We stayed behind him for a couple laps, but if I'm brutally honest, I didn't really want to be ultra aggressive with him because we've seen him take out 2 other drivers in the race. So just stayed behind. If there was an opportunity to overtake, I was going to go for it, but we just didn't really get close enough. The closest I got was on this lap here. You can see going onto into this real S section here. On the brakes, we got within a couple of tenths, but it was too far back to really go for a lunge. And then the next possible overtaking opportunity will be into the hairpin. So just trying to get a good exit off these corners and rotate the car through here, giving it a little lift off the throttle, perhaps being a bit too gentle there. Maybe I need to be more aggressive and keep that throttle down a little bit longer. But yeah, into the braking zone, you can see too far down. We're over 3 tenths behind, so we can't send it from this far back and take him out. But yeah, we just follow behind and get his slipstream, and that is going to be a P5 because once we're at this stage, we're too far behind to really do nothing. So daily race A is as usual. I'm sure you can have fun on this combination. I'm sure some people will enjoy it, but for me, it's just going to be a ramming fest, and I'm not really going to do that much racing on this combination. So next we go to daily race B, and it's one of my favourite combinations on the game. Now, I set a lap time in the Ferrari and just did a few laps, managed to get down to a 35.1, I think it was, within a few laps. We did it while we were waiting for the race to start, and it started me on P1, which I was quite surprised at. Now, you can see all the RCZs behind me, which are obviously quite quick around here. However, what I would say is that the RCZ is not the best car in my view, especially for race pace when you're trying to be consistent. I think personally the Hyundai or the Ferrari, the NSX will be a surprise car around this combination as well. If you remember last time when we did the Daily Race C, the NSX was really, really strong. So there'll be a number of cars that are stronger than you think. But yeah, we started from P1, so we're just going to go through. I'm going to give you a little bit of a track guide on one of the laps on this video of this race. So yeah, if you want any pointers, I'm going to do a very brief one, just point out some of the braking points and just try and give you some tips to try and make you a little bit faster. But I would definitely recommend trying something like the Ferrari, Hyundai, something like that, the NSX, because I think they're easier to drive than the RCZs in terms of cornering speed. The RCZs with that understeer are just horrible. So yeah, maybe if you're on a pad, you're going to like the FF cars, but for me, FF cars are boring. Much rather drive the Ferrari, a bit more entertaining to drive. So you can see straight away, Ferrari's got good speed. We saw that at Catalunya as well last week. The Ferrari was incredibly fast on acceleration and on the straights. So that is one thing that's in your favour with this car. Once it gets going, the RCZ, although fast in the slipstream, it's not just going to go flying past you. So again, into the braking zone, just trying to make sure we hit the braking points properly and taking it nice and smooth on lap 1. We can see that there's a little bit of battling going on behind us. We can see the 3 RCZs all battling away there behind us. Not really gaining on us at the moment. You can see once he gets in the slipstream, that RCZ behind us is obviously going to gain on us. But through here, this is where the strength of the Ferrari is. These faster corners, the 3rd and 4th gear corners, the Ferrari is just so much better than the RCZ in my view through corners like this, and obviously the final sector as well. You can see we get much better exit speed. However, he is still in that slipstream, and he's obviously going to work his way right back up behind. So you see, trying to break the slipstream, just going left to right there, just to try and break the toe a little bit, and then into the final corner, just braking just before that 50 board. Trying to rotate the car into this corner and just keep the throttle down in this Ferrari. It's just so nice to drive. I remember the Daily Race C here. I think this was one of my strong combinations I've had on the game. I really enjoy driving it. I find it entertaining. I probably will do a bit more of this race this week. Maybe grinding some driver rating out on our main account, possibly, because this one could be quite a strong one for me. So yeah, into the final first corner there again. And you can see again that RCZ still hanging in the slipstream behind us. Can't actually break the toe to him at the moment, because on the straights, once he's got a little bit of slip, he manages to gain right back up. But look behind us now in the mirror, and you'll see that the RCZ brakes a little bit late, I think, there, but then decides to get on the throttle really early, and you just see the understeer. Look at that understeer all the way off the track. He's going to have dirty tyres from that, and that is us gone. Broke the slipstream, and we're away now. So what we're going to do is go through a little bit of a track guide. While we were driving on our own, I decided let's just get a lap in, and obviously I'll do a track guide for you. So into turn 1, you're going to be looking for the 100 board. You're going to see it. I'm going to pause it with a screenshot of the board there. So on the 100 board, you're going to brake just fractionally short of that and kind of let the car coast into the corner. You'll see it with my inputs now. So off the throttle, letting the car coast there, and then get on the throttle as early as possible to maintain the speed on the apex. This corner is all about getting the exit speed. So you can see we get quite a nice exit speed now, all the way up into the next braking zone, which again, we're going to be looking for that 100 board. You'll see it now with the arrow. So 100 board there, braking pretty much dead, just short of that 100 board. Again, just tiny bit short of it, and squaring the car. If you want to stay to the left, then rotate it in first gear, and then back onto the throttle with a bit of second gear. Now, I ran a little bit wide there, probably lost a tenth or so because I got a little bit eager on the throttle. But if you get it right, you can gain a lot of time by doing that. You can gain like 2 tenths if you nail it. But now into the next braking zone, again, you're looking for the 100 board on the left-hand side, braking a little bit short of it again, and then down through the gears, you'll see, down into second gear, so third, then second gear, and then again, you want to get your right-hand tire to skim that curb on the right-hand side because it will help rotate the car. Use a bit of the curb on the left as well for a bit more exit speed, and then you're going to be looking for the 50 board on your right-hand side up here. Now that is going to be your braking point, just short of that 50 board. So as we come to that 50 board, you'll see we use a bit of the curb to help us rotate into the corner, down into third gear, get that left-hand tire onto the curb, and on the throttle as early as possible. If you get it right, you can carry a lot of speed. Now we're going to look for the brake. I use the end of that curb as pretty much a reference where I'm going to start lifting off and braking. So you see a little bit of braking input, carry the speed through here again, skim the curb on the left, get on the throttle nice and early, and then work your way into the final little sector, which again, as we come into this, you're going to be looking in between the 100 and the 50 board. It's kind of right in the middle, so you see it here. It's a little bit closer to the 50 board where you're going to brake rather than the 100, so you kind of want to brake a little bit further towards the 50 board, and then just try and carry the speed in fourth gear. And then just as you come in, make sure you're braking before that tarmac on the left there, because if you brake anywhere near that or past it, you're going to be going flying off the corner and get a penalty. So you make sure you brake early rather than late for the final corner. And then over the line, we go over, I think it's only a 35.3, but obviously in race pace, when we're not going maximum attack, we've got a nice solid lead. Didn't really need to push too hard. Now, we managed to win this race fairly comfortably, nearly 5 seconds ahead, just keeping it nice and consistent. You see, did a 34, 35.4, 35.3, 35.4, 35.3, I think it was, on the final lap. And that final lap, we made him, that was heading for a 35.0, I think, but I made a little mistake on it. But yeah, going into the final race now, Daily Race C is at Sardegna, and it is Sardegna A. A very, very good track, actually, on GT. Probably one of the better fictional tracks on the game, in my personal opinion. So for this one, again, we're going to start at the back of the grid. I'm in the Corvette. We've got Wheeling in front of us in the Vantage. Very, very fast driver in front of us, and also quite fast at this combination. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can make a strategy work. Now, this race is 100% about making strategy and getting clean air, because if you fight on this combination, you are going to lose so much lap time. If anything, if you work with someone here, you will gain a lot. If you've got someone reasonably close paced and you work with them with a bit of bump drafting or something like that, you will gain so much more than fighting with them, because if you start fighting, you just go side by side and you lose a lot of lap time. But I do think this week, this race is going to be really good, really high ranked racing this week, and probably some really good entertaining races. So I'm looking forward to this one. But yeah, starting this race, you see Wheeling right in front of us there. And now we can see the advantages of the Aston Martin versus the Corvette. I think the Corvette is a bit better on traction. However, the Vantage is better, quicker on initial acceleration. But then in 6th gear, you will see that the Vantage does slightly slow down a bit compared to the Corvette. Now, there is a number of cars you can use this week, I think. I think the Vantage, Corvette, Nissan GTR might be a surprise one. If you can tame the Nissan GTR, that might be very good. But into the braking zone here, we gave Arthur, well, Wheeling, a little bit of a tap there into the braking zone. So apologies to that, but luckily he didn't get affected by it, and he manages to get through the chaos there, as do we, and we jump up to P17. So yeah, Vantage, Corvette, Nissan GTR. There is going to be a few cars. McLaren F1, if you can look after the tyres and do a 5-5 divide, will be possible to get a reasonable result out of also. It's just a case of picking a car that you like. Supra might be able to compete if you can, again, look after the tyres, but I do think the Vantage, GTR and Corvette will be the easier and better options in general. So fast forward the action to the end of the straight there, you can see a little bit of chaos going in front of us, 3 wide there. Wheeling has managed to get himself up into P14, and we've got the 2 other cars battling. Now this Supra is going to go for a bit of a lunge up the inside. He's got the inside line there, and he's going to send it, and it actually makes that work. To be fair to him, he had the inside. P16 didn't really give him that much space, so I think that was 100% fair. And yeah, he's up to P15. So we're going to, again, just try and see if we can get a good exit off this left-hander. This is probably the trickiest corner on the track in my view. You've really got to get it into the curb on the left-hand side and try and rotate it through the corner. I actually hit the wall there, unfortunately, as we fast forward the action on the straight. And we see, as we come here, we see another car has spun in front of us. He's rotated the car, and he's going to be right at the back now, and we're up into P16. So a few positions gained. Now what we can see up ahead is a long train of cars. Now this is the situation that I'm talking about. If you've got a situation like this, look at all the battling going on ahead. As another driver makes a mistake, we gain that position up into P15, but you've got a lot of battling going on. So this is a really risky strategy, what I'm about to do, and I kind of decided it anyway because I saw all this kicking off, and then when we saw Wheeling go in the pits, Wheeling goes off into the pits now, and that made it pretty much 100% I was going to do the same, because there's just so much battling. You know you're going to lose time. They're all on medium tyres, so get off into the pits and go for a very long soft stint. Now 8 laps on the softs is doable. You have to be very cautious over your downshifting. Put the brake bias to +1, I would recommend. I was messing with +1 on 2, but +1 with the Corvette, and just be very gentle with your downshifting. You'll see it compared to how I normally drive. I'm normally quite aggressive with the downshifting, but you'll see on this run we're a little bit more smooth now, just trying to save them rear tyres. So we're going to go through another quick track guide. So going down the main straight, you're going to be looking out for the 100 board. Now you're going to brake a little bit short of that 100 board, so you're going to see there, you want to brake a little bit before it, so keep an eye on the braking inputs. We're going to brake just short of that 100 board, and stay in 3rd gear, downshift nice and slow, stay in 3rd gear. If you can do this in 3rd gear, you'll get a better exit speed. We managed to do that there, and now work your way up here. Completely flat out. Remember to shift about 50-60% with the Corvette. That's the fastest way to do it. Now into the next braking zone, we're going to brake just past that 50 board, only fractionally past. You don't want to be pushing the braking limits to the limit because we're trying to save tyres. So nice and smooth through here, gentle downshifting, downshift to 2nd gear, get the car rotated, then early upshift into 3rd gear. and now work your way into the next braking zone, which again, we're going to look for the 50 board, braking just past the 50 board into this corner. And again, nice gentle downshift from 4th to 3rd gear. You'll see 4th, then 3rd, let the car rotate, skim that little bit of different colour tarmac on the left, and then upshift into 4th on the exit and work your way up the hill now. So this is where the Corvette is really strong. Uphill section where it's all about the torque. The Corvette really does perform really well in this kind of situation. So now, next braking zone, we're looking for the 100 board, which is there right in front of you. And again, you're going to brake just short of that. Make sure you're braking short of it. Don't brake on it. If you brake on it, you're going to brake too late. So short of that 100 board, down to 2nd gear. Keep it nice and smooth on the exit. Use a bit of the curb if you need to on the outside. And now we're into... This is probably the trickiest section on the track in my personal view. If you get it wrong, it just messes up totally. So as we come through here, you're going to brake and just a little bit of coasting just before the end of that curb on the right side. Just a tiny bit of braking input. You're not going to go aggressive. Now you want to get this left-hand tyre almost skimming the barrier on the left, and then carry the speed on the right, and now into your next braking zone, which again, we're using the 100 board. Now this one, you can brake pretty much dead on that 100 board. You don't need to be braking short. You can pretty much brake right on it. If you get the braking right, down to 2nd gear, skim the apex again, and then on that throttle nice and early, and then just shift your way all the way to the finishing line, because this corner up here, you don't need to lift. It's completely flat out. And yeah, not an amazing lap we've just done there, but considering the car is still quite heavy on fuel, it wasn't perfect. And we go over the line, I think it's a 39.8, which it's fairly okay. I think we did a 39.6 yesterday from lap 2, so obviously not the most perfect lap, but we're going to skip a little bit ahead now. You can see we're up into P14. We've managed to catch up this group up here, and we're about to witness a very, very close call here. So as we come through, this is the corner that I was talking about. Very, very tricky. The McLaren gets all out of shape. He nearly takes out the Aston Martin, and then just as he comes across, we managed to just about avoid that McLaren. Now, I don't know where the ghosting system was. It just didn't happen, but luckily we just about avoided. So let's have a little look at that from the chase camera. As we come through here, we're just trying to take it nice and smooth. We see what's going on. You'll see my braking inputs going, and a little bit of rotation to the left. I think we did clip him slightly, but luckily didn't massively affect me. Now, we did lose quite a bit of time because there was contact, and then we had to brake early because obviously P12 had contact as well. So we lost about 1 second. I think this lap time is in a 41.1 or something like that. As we go over the line, you'll see there it's a 41.1, yeah. So we lost probably about 1.1, 1.2 seconds just in that incident. But we are up into P10, and this is the thing, because we pitted so early in this race, we're doing a lot of our overtakes without actually overtaking. There's another McLaren driver getting all out of shape there. It looks like he braked too late into turn 1, got onto the gravel, and then he is now facing the wrong way, and we're up into P9. So yeah, pitting early, looking after your tyres, avoid the battling, drive it nice and smooth, and it's really paying off at the moment because we've only done 1 or 2 actual overtakes, and we're up into P9. Now we're skipping a little bit further ahead, more people pitting, and we're now up into P6, and we're going to actually get ourselves into P5. Luckily, we just about managed to get that driver. That was really important because he was on fresh mediums. I'm on very, very worn soft tyres, so that was quite lucky, that, to be honest. But now we come into the end of lap 7, and again we're going to jump this driver up here. You can see he's just coming out of the pits. Now this one's a little bit easy. You can see we're a little bit further past him, so that's not a worry. So up into P4 without really doing any overtakes, by just using the strategy and looking after the tyres. You can see my tyres are actually pretty nice considering how long we've driven on them, and you can see we've not actually lost sight of wheeling. Considering we lost 1.1 seconds in 1 lap, we've not actually been dropped by him. We're keeping that gap around 3 seconds, which is quite interesting. The pace isn't terrible. And it shows the Aston Martin, though, is also pretty strong for this track. The Aston Martin Vantage, Nissan GTR, they are all going to be options for this combination, especially with the Nissan GTR on the soft tyres. I think that car will be very strong. Same with the Vantage. But yeah, through here, trying to keep it nice and smooth with the shifting, trying to keep that gears nice and smooth. Make sure you get the traction on the rear. The rear tyres is probably where you have the issue with. The front tyres, although they wear and give you understeer, it's not really an issue in terms of accelerating out some of the corners. So into this next braking zone, just trying to keep it nice and smooth. You can see that we're keeping that gap around 2.9 to 3 second range to wheeling in front of us, and he's actually catching up to Forza at least now as we're approaching the end of lap 8. You can see that the gap is getting pretty close. P1, I don't know how he's got that far ahead. He's 13 seconds ahead now. I was a bit confused at this at the time. I was thinking, I've never seen his name, but he's 13 seconds ahead without having a fastest lap in the race. So I was a bit baffled as how he's done that. He must have been just doing really consistent driving. So yeah, as we work our way onto the start straight, we can see that wheeling is getting very, very close to Forza release here now, as we're about to start lap 9 and only 2 laps to go in this race. So it looks like he might be able to catch him on the final lap. So we're going to skip ahead now to the end of lap 9 and the start of lap 10. And we see as we come into turn 1, there's an incident up ahead. And we can see that there's some sort of chaos, and wheeling has actually been took out of the race. Now, as we watch on the replay, I'm going to show you what actually happens here. Now, this kind of reminds me what happened with Miro and myself back in an FIA race quite a while ago. Now, whether the intent was there by Forza release, I'm not 100% sure. It was a little bit naughty, if I'm honest. Pushes wheeling off onto the gravel. Wheeling, once your tyres are on that gravel, you're spinning out of control. And so, yeah, hopefully they can sort that out between them, but it was a little bit naughty. So, yeah, into lap 10. We've been promoted to a podium position, though, so it's good for myself. We're up to P3. And now we've just got to try and keep this car nice and smooth to the finish. We've got a 2.1. I was quite surprised we'd actually managed to keep the gap to the driver behind. You can see our lap times were pretty consistent considering the wear on the tyres. Now, as we come to this final bit of straight before the finishing line, we notice that P2 seems to be getting demoted. Now, this is because you have to use both soft and medium tyres. Like we said yesterday, P1 has obviously just gone soft, flat out, thinking he's flying, and then realised that didn't work because he needed to pit. So yeah, he needed to use both tyres. Do remember that, people. You have to use both compounded tyres. And yeah, this race is all about strategy, finding that clear air. If you can do some nice smooth driving, look after your tyres, you're going to gain a lot of positions in this combination. Looking forward to this daily race C this week. It's going to be an entertaining week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you for more live streams this week. Thanks again for watching, everyone.